Let's talk about network latency and how do we go from about 100 millisecond latency to 1 millisecond latency. So basically how we're going to make your Amazon Relay work faster than it is right now. So what is network latency, first of all? The network latency is the time that it takes for a request to travel from the sender, that is you, to the receiver, that is Amazon server in this case, and for the server to process that information and send it back to you. So in this scenario, it takes 800 milliseconds to the server, 900 milliseconds back from the server. So altogether, it is 1.7 second latency. And what are the causes of network latency? Many different things. When you refresh your page, so basically when you send that request to the server, that request goes through many different network devices, and then it goes to the tower. From one tower, it goes to the satellite. From one satellite, it goes to the next satellite, and goes to the tower, so on and so forth. Gets to the server here, then server processes that information, and then that information is sent back to the same route to you. Let's simplify it. So let's say you're working on your Amazon Relay, and anytime you refresh your page, you send a runner, and runner goes to Amazon server, requests that information, and then brings it back to you. At that point, you're looking at the latest Amazon Relay, and you decide, or your autobooker decides to book one of the slots. Then you send the runner again with the request to book. At that point, you either get the load or you lost the load. But as you see, it takes time. And I hear from a lot of my customers saying, look, I'm looking at the loads and I want to book it, but by the time I book it, it is gone. So I'm losing my business to other computers or other businesses. And why is that? Let's talk about distance. If all is equal, if all of these computers have the same internet connection speed, but physically they're closer to the Amazon server, their runner will have to run shorter distances. Right? So let's say this computer is working from California, it is 50 milliseconds latency. This computer is working outside of the United States, 100 milliseconds. This computer is working from, I don't know, Florida, and there's 38 milliseconds, so on and so forth. But how do we go from 100 milliseconds to 1 millisecond latency, or any milliseconds to 1 millisecond latency? By the way of virtual machine. So basically, it's almost like a clone of your computer that sits so close to Amazon server here that it takes half a millisecond to the server and half a millisecond back from the server. So altogether, it is 1 millisecond latency. And why is that? Because we are eliminating all this cluster, all this distance, because all we need is connection and control over this virtual machine to maintain 1 millisecond latency. And how it is done? It is done through Anydesk. As I said, we set your virtual machine so close to Amazon server, but we give you the control through Anydesk. So let's say this is your physical machine, you log into Anydesk, and through that, all the work is done on this virtual machine because you set all the criteria here on your computer, but the work is done on the virtual machine here. And another beauty of it is, I don't have to be on that specific computer to log into Anydesk. As long as you have connection, it doesn't matter from where you are connecting. You could be inside of the United States, outside of the United States. You could be on the moon for all I care. As long as you connect to Anydesk and take over the control of this virtual machine, now it doesn't matter how far you are, because the latency for this virtual machine is 1 millisecond regardless. But let me be clear. If you have one virtual machine and you log in through 3 or 5 different computers, it doesn't mean that you're going to have 3 or 5 different virtual machines. No, you're going to have one virtual machine and you can control it from anywhere in the world. Now, let's do a little demonstration. So right now I'm in front of my computer, my desk, and I'm going to come right here and type in CMD. That is a command prompt. So I'm going to go there and I'm going to type in ping space relay.amazon.com, and I'm going to hit enter. So it gives you all this information here. This is the IP, so on and so forth. But what is important here is the time. The time is my latency. So basically my average time is 94 milliseconds. Now, I'm going to log into my Anydesk, and I'm going to log into one of my virtual machines. And as you see, it's just like another computer. All I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to type in CMD, and I'm going to go to command prompt here, and I'm going to type in the same ping space relay.amazon.com, and I'm going to hit the enter. And as you see, the time here, my latency on average is 1 millisecond. All right, so my physical machine is at 95 millisecond. I did it a little earlier, and my virtual machine is at 1 millisecond latency. So if you're interested, please go ahead and contact us via Telegram at SwiftRelay.io.